Okay, so I've had a lot of conversation about the impact video that I did the other day. So I'm going to continue talking about the impact because there seems to be, I don't want to say confusion, but let's say there's a lot of interest in learning the proper impact position and actually how it starts down in the downswing. So I was talking about how the left wrist operates at impact, how the left wrist as it comes in, it's going to be bowing coming into impact. Okay, I'll stand a little closer to the camera so everyone can see. So as you come down, that left wrist is going to be bowing. And some of this is exaggerated, keep that in mind. But as you come down, that left wrist should start to bow like that, coming down. And as you come down, I'll try to get the club face in the right position. But as you come down, that club face should also be trying to turn itself down. Now, like I was saying last time, is the average person tries to get the shaft to turn down and not the club head along with the left wrist. So what we tend to see is when people come through the hitting area, as they come through, cupped and the club face is open in that position. So left wrist is cupped, club face is open, there's your slice, versus the left wrist being more flat and the club face more straight up and down with the toe or slightly turned in or turned down with the toe. Okay, so that would be square to close, more square there. That's definitely open and we don't like that position. But that's what we see most amateurs do. So an amateur, once again, as they come into impact, they start getting in this position where a pro gets more in that position. And typically with the pro it happens more because the body is rotating, okay? And if you watch the average amateur, as they come down in impact, the average amateur is very square to where the ball started. So if my address position is here, the average amateur is very square to the ball with the hips and shoulders, where the average pro is more open with hips and shoulders more open coming into impact. So that helps create lag between the left arm and shaft of the club, and it also helps with that left wrist bowing down. So a lot of people said, where should that start to happen? Well, it should start to happen just as you're starting the downswing. So remember, as you get to the top, when the downswing starts, the hips or the lower body is starting the downswing, and then as that starts to happen, then you should really start to feel what's going on with the left wrist. Now, I'll be honest, for me, I don't necessarily feel what's going on with the left wrist. I try to feel what's going on with the club face itself. So my hands are obviously connected to the club, and my hands are the only thing that's telling me what's happening with the club face, whether the club face is square, closed, or open. Okay? So as I start down, my hands are kind of telling me where that club face is throughout the swing. And in order to get it squared up and hold that angle and be in the right positions, that left wrist has to be bowing coming down in the impact. Now, you can think left wrist or you can think right palm. You know, when you grip the club with the right hand, that right hand is kind of telling you where the club face is, so your right palm there is pretty square to where the club face would be. So if that right palm turns down, then the club face turns down. The right palm is up towards the sky, then the club face is going to be up towards the sky. So you can think of that too. There's many different ways to think of it. But definitely in the downswing, as you start down, that left wrist is going to be bowing starting down. So at top of the backswing here, and then as I start down, it's going to be bowing or starting to flatten out, and then my club face is going to be in a better position. Now, I've had a couple people come through and say, so this is what it should look like, and then when they come through into their finished position, their club is way over to the left behind them like this. Okay, I'll step out just a little way so you can see it. But as they come through, the club is kind of over here, and if it gets over there, my left wrist is really cupped. Okay, it's not bowed. If the left wrist bows properly, okay, the club will stay a little more out in front of you for a couple more frames, versus getting in this position where the club face is open and then trying to shoot left. Because when it shoots left like that, what you're trying to do is you're trying to use the shaft to square the club face up versus your hands to square the club face up. Now, I hope that doesn't confuse everyone, but I really think the average person tries to get the shaft to try to square the club face up versus just using the hands and club face to square that up coming through impact. Okay, now a couple other things that you can think of. When you go to open a door, you're twisting your forearm, okay, that way, and you can do it with your left hand too. So you can think that's the motion that happens in the golf swing right there. Even though we talk about bowing of the left wrist, you know, it doesn't go into that position right there, okay? It's a slight bow. It doesn't go all the way down towards the ground like that. So keep that in mind when you're swinging a golf club. What else can I say about this? I would say that when you are swinging this golf club, always keep in mind that the very important thing is hitting the ball center on the club face. So as you're working on this exercise, you might not hit it center on the club face, but as you get better at it, you're going to hit it center on the club face, and if you do it properly, you should start to pick up some more distance. Oh, one other thing. Grip pressure. Everybody talks about how tight should I grip this golf club. I feel, my personal opinion is that you should hold on to it tight enough to hold on to the golf club. The part that you really want to kind of stay soft in is your wrists and forearms. So right now as I'm spinning this club around in a circle, I'm squeezing it really tight in my fingers, okay? But my wrists and my forearms, you know, they have some pressure, but they're soft enough where I can still move them around and I could still turn the club over if I needed to turn it over, okay? So keep that in mind. I think that when you swing a club, I mean, we're swinging this thing at, you know, 60, 70, 80 miles per hour. You have to hold on to it pretty tight, okay? But you have to also stay soft in your wrists and your forearms in order to let that motion happen, okay? And this will be the last thing I say because I'm sure this is pretty long, but when you swing, you notice how my left arm isn't moving at all here? It might be rotating, but it's not moving from right to left, okay? So I do this drill quite a bit with people where I say, keep your left arm still and try to make the club swing as far as it can. And when you go through, I want your palm facing the sky. Well, most people go, wow, if I can't hit the ball like that, I'm never going to hit it square. Well, if you watch every pro as they swing, or almost every pro, as they go through, you can see that palm really turn towards the sky as they're going through. And when they get into this position over here, just left of them, you'll always see the fingers of their left hand, the glove finger right there. So you can see that. So as they go through, that happens, and you'd see it in a baseball player too. So hopefully we get some more conversation out of this, and hopefully I didn't confuse you too much, but that's what happens to start the downswing and then coming into impact.